Welcome to part 2 of this grammatical series, where I will teach you amazing and fantastic grammatical structures for your speaking exams in the C1 level. In our previous video, we watched some amazing grammatical structures, and today we will explore 3 more grammatical points. So stay with me if you want to find out which ones. Now, if you missed the first video, go and check it out and stay tuned until the end because I'm going to reveal something very cool that might interest you. Let's begin. Here we are with 3 more amazing grammatical structures that you need for your C1 level exams. So let me show you the first structure for today, which is the conditionals, of course. So conditionals are such a popular grammatical structure that you cannot miss them. But there are so many different types that I'm going to try to sum up all the information so that you can use them properly. So of course, when we're using conditionals, it's because we are talking about certain conditions for something to be true, or perhaps we are imagining situations, or perhaps we are talking about a past that we cannot really change. So anyway, on the screen, you can see different examples for all the different types. So for example, if you don't brush your teeth, you get cavities. If you rest, you will feel better. If I inherited $1 billion, I would travel to the moon. And finally, if you had told me you needed a ride, I would have taken you home. So here you can see different types of conditionals that we're gonna break down one by one. So here I want to show you the different types of conditionals. And right now, we're going to concentrate on the main 4 ones, okay? We have type 0, which is normally used when we want to talk about something that always happens. So basically the if that appears in this sentence can be replaced with when, okay? Always happens. So type 1, it refers to something that is possible and the probable consequence or result, right? Type 2 is when you are talking about something which is improbable or unlikely or even impossible and the not very likely result of that. And type 3 is for something that you cannot change from the past. We are imagining a change in the past, and the different result of that change. Let me show you some examples. So for instance, you can say, well, if you freeze water, it becomes solid. So this is something that all the time happens, is 100% true. So that's why we can say if you freeze water or when you freeze water, because it always happens. So the formation is if or when plus the present simple is followed by a present simple. All right. Now type 1, you have if it doesn't rain tomorrow, we'll go to the beach. Okay. The formation is if and the present simple, and then on the second part you have the will and the infinitive. All right, so if something happens, then the second thing will happen too. Then with type 2, what we are doing is we are imagining something that is unlikely, but we are, just imagining a hypothesis or an imaginary situation. For example, if I won a lot of money, I would buy a big house in the country. I think that is quite unlikely, but I'm still, just imagining because it's for free. So the structure or the formation is if plus the past simple, if I won, and then on the second part you have would plus infinitive. All right, so I would buy a big house. And finally, type 3 is when we are talking or discussing something in the past that we cannot change. For example, if I hadn't been ill, I would have gone to the party. So this is something obviously that happened in the past, right? And then I cannot change it, but still I'm talking about it. And the formation is if plus past perfect. If I hadn't been ill, then would have plus the past participle. I would have gone to the party. So we've just seen all the different types of conditionals, the 4 types of conditionals, but sometimes because, we like to complicate our lives a little bit, we like to mix them around, and then we have what they called the mixed conditionals. Now, the mixed conditionals is basically you are mixing some conditionals of one type and combining it with another type and making a new style or a new conditional, okay? When do we use mixed conditionals? Well, we use them when we imagine a past change with a result in the present. Take a look at the left side of your screen, and it says, if I hadn't got the job, okay, now I'm talking about something in the past, I wouldn't be with my current partner. I am talking about a past change or a change in the past if I hadn't got the job in Tokyo. yeah? But then with a result in the present, I wouldn't be with my current partner, okay? So because of something that happened or didn't happen in the past, something happened in the present. I am combining it with I wouldn't be, okay? So we are creating a new type of mixed conditional. On the right, you have a different example and you say, it's really important. If it wasn't, I wouldn't have called you on your holiday. So basically you have, we imagine a present change with a result in the past. The present change is, if it wasn't important now, then I wouldn't have called you on your holiday. And this happened in the past. So something that we change in the present affects or could affect the past. All right, so that's why they are called mixed conditionals. All right, the formation is if plus past simple, if it wasn't, and then would have plus the participle. I wouldn't have called you on your holiday. Now let's have a look at some examples for your exams. Now imagine you have to do an education monologue. So perhaps you could say, well, if more governments had invested in teacher training and educational resources, the quality of education worldwide would have improved significantly. In this case, we are using a third type conditional because it's something that happened or didn't happen in the past, and obviously we cannot change. So that's why we are using a third type here. Imagine you are having a work dialogue and you have to discuss and answer questions with your classmate, and perhaps he asked you, why didn't you apply for that job in Paris? Well, if I knew how to speak French fluently, I would have applied for the job in Paris last year. So you have a combination of the two. If I knew, so this looks like a type 2 conditional. If I knew, then normally you would say, if I knew blah, 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 I would da, da, da. But in this case, you are using the ending of a third type conditional. I would have applied for the job in Paris. So we are combining the type 2 and type 3, and that's why it is a mixed conditional, because we are talking about a change in the present. If I knew French now, then I would have applied for the job in Paris in the past last year. Let's move on to the next grammatical structure. In this case is I wish, which is amazing and very, very practical and useful for any kind of situation, mainly to talk about your desires and also to regret about some things that you have done in the past. Now, wish can be divided into two different uses: when we use wish followed by a past simple, and also when we use wish followed by would, and it's a little bit different. Okay, so imagine that we are talking about something that we would like it to be different in the present or in the future. Then we use the wish plus past simple, which is on the left of your screen. It's used for things that are impossible or very unlikely. However, we use wish plus would when we are kind of annoyed by something that a person does or a person doesn't do, but it's not our regret, but it's a regret about someone else, yeah, or a different situation, but it's not usually used about ourselves. Then we use this structure. Let's take a look at some examples to understand it a bit better. Well, when we are talking about or when we want things to be different in the present or in the future, we are going to use wish past simple. For example, you can say, I wish I had a big house, or I wish we didn't need to work today, or I wish that John wasn't busy tomorrow. So all these situations are changes that I would like to have in the present. For example, I wish I had a big house now, today, or I wish that we didn't need to work today, or perhaps something that we would like to change about the future. For example, I wish that John wasn't busy tomorrow, all right? However, if you would like someone to change something, or it's not your regret, but a regret about someone else, then you use wish plus would. For example, I wish he would listen to me more, okay? This is something that you don't like about someone else, okay? Or I wish that you wouldn't smoke so much, okay? This is something that you do that annoys me, so it's not something that I regret about myself. And finally, I wish that you wouldn't work so late or late so often. So again, this is a complaint that I have about someone else, a different person. And now, if you have to do a monologue or a dialogue about social media, okay, ways that you can use this grammatical structure. For example, I wish more people recognized the impact of the words on social media platforms. The anonymity often leads to a lack of accountability, which can result in harmful behavior and cyberbullying. So if you have to talk about the negative impact of social media, perhaps, you can express your regrets or your desires. You can express how you would like things to be different. So by saying, I wish people would be more considerate, or they would be more careful with the words, they wouldn't use cyberbullying, etc. You are expressing something that you don't like, and then that's why you can use the structure with I wish, okay? Now, when doing a social media dialogue, for example, imagine that the person or your classmate asks you, well, how did your social media usage change during the pandemic? And how did it affect your well-being? You can reply, well, I wish I hadn't spent so much time scrolling around through social media during the pandemic, because it made me feel more isolated and anxious. So again, you are regretting about something that you did and you wish you could change, but obviously there is no solution because it's already in the past. So it's very useful. The structure of I wish, especially for dialogues, is very, very easy to implement. So I really, really encourage you to give it a try because it works wonders. And by the way, there is a whole video on I wish in my channel, so please check it out. You can scan the code there and watch it later. And the next grammatical structure is inversion, okay? When we use inversion in English, we basically want to add drama or a little bit of a dramatic effect to whatever you are saying, or to keep some kind of formality, all right? So this is the perfect grammatical structure in order to achieve that. Now, there are two types of inversions. We are going to focus on the negative adverbial inversions. So, for example, inversions that begin with a negative adverb, for example, never, rarely, seldom, hardly, etc. Simply to give much more emphasis to whatever you are saying. So you can say, never have I seen such a beautiful sunset. You can say a simply and boring sentence like, oh, I've never seen a sunset like this one. Or you can say, never have I seen such a beautiful sunset. It's much more dramatic and it gives more emphasis to the fact that you are loving it. Now, you also have the type of inversion done with conditionals. So sometimes with the third conditional sentences, you can omit the word if and then invert the order of the elements and have kind of an inversion type of sentence. So you can say, had I known, I would have acted differently, okay? This gives a more formal touch to your sentence. You can say, if I had known, I would have acted differently. But if you remove the if and if you alter the order, had I known, it makes your sentence sound much more formal. So picture this, you have to do a monologue about crime, right? Could be a nice resource that you can use to show your level. For instance, you can say, well, seldom has my city seen such a significant decrease in crime rates. The new policies implemented by the administration have truly made a difference. By using an inversion here, what you're trying to say is that your city has never seen an important decrease in crime rates, but now you are very happy because it has actually been reduced. So inversion is a good strategy to be followed here. And then imagine you have to do a dialogue regarding traveling. Yeah, you're talking to your classmate and then he or she asks you, okay, do you remember a trip to Thailand last year? It was incredible. And perhaps this is a good way to emphasize, to give a dramatic touch on how much you love that trip. You can say, absolutely, the beaches were stunning. Little did I know that that trip would become one of our best memories. Little did I know is another example of inversion, and it makes it clear that for you that trip was amazing and unforgettable. For more information about inversion, please watch my whole video is in my channel, so you can scan the code or you can check the link below. Also in the video you will be able to download this little summary chart where you will see all the different inversions with different examples as a summary that you can print and study with. So there you have it, 3 more amazing grammatical structures that will help you shine in your speaking exams. So make sure that you watch video number 1 if you didn't watch it, and of course to stay tuned for the next one coming, because in that one I will reveal the final grammatical structures that you need for your exams. So important news, I'm working on a very comprehensive ebook that covers all the information mentioned in the 3 different videos that I am creating. So please make sure that you activate the notification bell so that you know when my next video will come up, because the moment the video is out, okay, this ebook will be ready. Now, if you're interested in knowing all the details and all the information, you can sign up for the mailing list in the link below, and then you will be the first one to find out all the private information the moment the ebook comes out. Keep on practicing, and I'll see you in the next one.